I've made over $250,000 in the last 12 months selling AI grow systems to home service businesses. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did so and how I also achieved some really, really good stats. Like here that I kind of put here for you guys to take a look at is, I mean, obviously there's the social proof of what I made, blah, blah, blah. I signed one deal, what my calendar looked like. And this is an okay picture. I think I was flying on these 2 days. So they were pretty much blocked off. And as well, what I know a lot of you guys are probably seeing as well, especially helping home service business or dealing with home service businesses, is significantly low show up rates. So right here, as you can see, I averaged, again, these are just a few screenshots I brought up. I could have easily showed 80s across the board, but again, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be like somewhat realistic of what you can achieve doing what I'm able to tell you really quickly. So again, like what notoriously industry has super low show rates, I pretty much crushed it with show rates. Like if you had this show rate in any niche, you'd be super, super stoked and happy. Okay. So I'm going to break it down in 5 simple steps. Okay. Or sorry, 7 simple steps. Okay. Super, super good. And I'm going to start off with pretty much starting from the basics. If you've or like if you're already doing 10, 20, 30K a month, absolutely, like that's great. But this will probably help because what I see a lot of the times is agency owners, they plateau at 50 to 30K a month, easily plateau. And more than not, it's because of the beginning. It's rather the niche that they picked or their ICP is not dialed in. You can easily do, 20 to 30K with a not so dialed in ICP. But when you're going to do 50, 60, 70K, you really need to make sure that your ICP is dialed in. So, one, picking the right niche, okay? One thing that I always tell people is you want to avoid super small markets, okay? You want to make sure that their TAM, so their TAM, their total addressable market, is above 100,000 in population. So, for example, in my marketing agency, I help HVAC businesses, and there's well over 100,000 businesses in the United States alone, right? Like you could do Canada and the UK and things like that. But for me, I mainly target the USA, and there were well over 100,000 businesses that are fully operational that can afford my service. Okay. Next is, I mean, I'm such an advocate for it, but target local/home service businesses and trades niches. Okay. These are by far the best businesses to sell AI to because one, they're the least, like, they're the last people to implement AI, but they know they need it. Like, none of these guys are going to implement it themselves. They need someone else to come in and do it for them. And they know, trust me, like, everyone sees AI out there. They need someone to go in here and help them with it. Okay. And when I mean AI is you're going to use AI to help them generate leads, to book appointments, right? And then and that'll ultimately help them close more deals. Okay. And again, they're not doing it themselves. They know they need it. And they're going to be the last, they're going to be the last people to implement this. So they need you. Okay. And that's why you can pick high, like that's where you can sell high ticket. Okay. So third is you want to pick high ticket niches. And what I mean by that is I'll give you 2 examples, right? There's some high ticket, or I'll literally give 2 examples here. There is, you can be an electrician, right? Where I think, the average job for an electrician is, a couple $100, like I would say less than $1,000, right? As opposed, like, again, obviously they have bigger jobs if they do like really big installations, but the majority of the time they're doing this kind of work. Where if we go back into the HVAC niche, there's really 2 types of jobs they do. Service work, which is, like a few $100, not what we're here to target. But the other one, that's pretty much half their business, is full AC, furnace, boiler installations. And these are like, $6,000 plus, right? So these are high ticket. If I can get someone, 5 jobs a month, it'll more than pay for my services, as well as they'll actually see a really good return and stay with me month to month to month. So picking niches that sell high ticket is pretty much needed. You need to. Okay. And then another thing I want to say is a lot of people think the home service, like basically home service, local service business space is just like it's saturated, or SMMA is saturated. Okay. I'm sure you guys have heard that before because everyone likes to say things are saturated. But think of it like this, right? If something is saturated, it means that there is a big demand for it, right? And obviously lots of supply. But what I have here is like the goal is to just get 1, 2, 3% of the market. You can easily do 7 to 8 figures, like 6, 7, 8 figures, just by getting 1 to 5% of the market. Because again, when it's saturated, it's so big. You you don't need to take 50% of the market cap. You just need 1 or 2%, and you could be doing very, very well. Okay, so that's something that you absolutely need to remember. That if things are saturated, I like it. Okay. Number two is crafting the right offer and understanding your ICP. Okay, guys, this is the difference from making no money to making 100,000. Okay, like I said in the beginning, there's agencies that will plateau at 15 to 30K and not understand because they got the 30K. So clearly what they're doing is working. Clearly it's working, but they just can't get by it. Right. And the reason being is because when you don't have your ICP and offer in congruency with each other, which is another thing that I teach people how to do, which is to make a congruency offer, which I'm going to show you right now, is greatly why people don't scale, because they're capped at who they can help, as opposed to you dial in your offer and your ICP so they're congruent with each other, creating a congruency offer. You're going to be able to hit a bigger audience and actually start to scale to 100K, like 50, 60, 70, 100K easily. Okay. So to do this, you want to start with done for you services. Okay. Like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, SEO. I mean, it depends what type of ad platform you're going to do based on what type of business. But if you're doing home service, you're probably going to be doing Facebook. And obviously, Facebook and Instagram are the same, just under Meta, and Google ads. Probably not TikTok, and most likely SEO as well. Okay. It's a really good, like you can easily package an SEO with paid ads. Another thing, okay? Number two here, understand who you want to work with. So this is for your ICP. Again, ICP means ideal client profile or ideal customer profile, okay? You really want to dial down. I see people thinking all the time, oh, like, I'm just going to help home service businesses. Like, that's great and all, but what kind of home service business? I listed out a bunch. They're all listed right here. And then when you pick one, like let's just say home remodelers as an example, what kind of home remodeling business? Are you helping guys get off from the ground? So, just a guy in his Ford F-150? Or are you looking to help guys who got like 4 trucks on the road who are doing, a quarter million, a million, 2 million plus a year? You have to pick one and be very specific with who you help. This is how you get to $100,000 months, guys. This is exactly how you do it. You need to be very specific. Exactly like I say there. Be specific. Okay. So as an example, companies making over 100K a month. What result and offer would attract this type of business? And of course, you need to understand how this business operates. That's why I'm saying, like, if you just help home service businesses, like the way a floor epoxy company works is completely different from how an HVAC business operates, right? And if you don't know how the business operates, you're going to lose on sales calls. You're not going to understand the proper messaging that's going to attract them in your advertisements. Like, and your offer just is definitely not going to be congruent with your ICP, because again, you don't have an ICP if you're attracting everybody. Okay. Super, super important. Super, super important. Okay. And then you can also bundle your services for more value, right? Throw in websites. If you have JHL, you can just slap in a website there. SEO, I've seen people do content. Reputation management is super easy, especially if you have JHL, and reactivation campaigns, etc. Like most of the stuff is pretty simply done with Go High Level, and you could pretty much use AI to delegate a lot of this as well. Okay, so just like what I was saying right here, we're going to get into right here. You need to position your offer to attract your most ideal client profile. And what I mean by this is you want a strong results driven offer backed by guarantees and have it logically make sense. I say this all the time. If you've seen me on YouTube or Instagram, you hear me say this all the time. These type of business owners buy off logic and if something makes sense to them. Okay? It's trust, authority, and logic. If they can't logically see a return on investment, they won't buy. They don't buy off emotion. They don't care if they can't, afford X, Y, and Z. You need to show them a clear ROI. Okay? How I teach is ROI based selling, especially with home service businesses. Okay, so once you have this done and it's concrete in stone, you will only attract businesses who are making, 100,000 a month. When you have a like for lack of a better term, a shitty offer, you're gonna attract a lot of guys just starting out that are gonna flood your calendars, wasting your time, your closer's time. It's gonna ruin your Facebook meta pixel, so you're gonna start to attract more people who just started, and that's the last thing that you want is to f up your entire like meta ads account. So those are some pretty big things to keep in mind there. Number 3, guys, is client acquisition and booking appointments. Okay, outreach based on your ICP. Again, like I mentioned, I'm going to continue to say this as well because so many people mess this up. Is remember the demographic and characteristics of your niche. Anything cold doesn't typically work well. Anything cold doesn't typically work well / quickly in the home service / local business and trades niches. Okay. And again, remember this line right here. If you're going to remember anything, remember this line right here. Okay. Remember who they are. Who owns a painting business? Who owns a pool business? Right. They're relatively the older generation of men who have known labor their whole life. Right. So do you think they know how to go through a funnel, how to watch a VSL, how to, fill in their opt-in form, load another page, watch the reviews? They don't do any of that. None of that. So the way you're going to attract these type of business owners is completely different and easier than if you were to, try to help coaches or real estate agents or anything like that. This is extremely different, easier in my opinion, but it's hell of a lot different from what you've seen online. Okay. So to get clients, guys, the best method, the absolute best is to run paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. This is the easiest way to get in front of these business owners who have a problem that you solve. I see far too often people are stuck in the game of thinking, I'm going to make a personal brand. I'm going to post on Instagram, post reels and try to blow up. Again, guys, right here. Remember what I just said. These guys aren't on YouTube looking for the next, expert. These guys aren't scrolling on Instagram, Twitter, hoping someone's going to help solve their problems. You need to do direct response marketing for these guys. They need to see an ad that speaks to them and a problem that they face or a desire that they want, and they'll click it. They'll fill in their information and you start the conversation. That's how you attract these business owners. Not through content, not through making a VSL on YouTube, none of that. Direct response. That's how we get conversations with these types of business owners. Okay? And another big one here is you got to build authority. Okay? You need to look like a professional business. These types of businesses want to work with an actual agency, an actual company, an actual business. They're not looking to work with a freelancer, right? A company doing $4 million a year is not looking to work with Greg, who, works in his, in his mom's basement because he's got a laptop and stuff like that. And he's decent at marketing. He might be the best marketer ever, but these guys are looking for real businesses to do business with. So when you're running your ads, don't run them on your personal accounts. They don't want to, someone's going to click on your account when they see an ad and they're going to see pictures of you when you're, 12 years old. Like they don't want to see that. That's not going to attract anybody. Build a business page, post a few posts on there, and run your and run your ads off those accounts. Okay, professional looking ads or a website ads, tonality. And the same goes when you're booking calls. So on your sales calls and your appointment setting calls or your triage calls. Okay, and like I said, fix social accounts you are advertising on. Exactly what I said. This will build a crazy amount of authority. As you guys probably know, everybody and their brother is online making SMMAs. But what's going to have you stand out to these home service businesses is when your account looks like a legitimate business, like a big company business. Not saying you got to look like, multi-million dollar with hundreds of employees, but you have to look like a business because your competition out there probably has a dumb mic in their a field of view like this with a background like this. Like they're not looking for this. They don't want to see this. They want to see a guy who relatively looks like them, maybe on the job site with a company logo. Again, they don't care about the company. They just want to see that you're a legitimate company. And these are the characteristics that they look for when wanting to do business with you. Okay. And then appointment setting framework. So the appointment booking framework. Okay. Strong communication of what you do. You need to hold the lead's hand to the sales call. So it's not just you booking calls. The way I got these numbers was not, a funnel, someone would self book and then I would just cross my arms and, wait for the appointment and I'd hop on Zoom and magically see them in the waiting room pop up and we just have the meeting. No, 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 no. These guys will not show up if you'll have no sales calls if that's what you're doing. Okay. You'll have zero sales calls. You literally need to hold their hand through the sales, to the sales call. That might seem like a lot of work. I'm telling you it's not. It's about calling them. So one, you want to book their appointments only 1 to 3 days max in advance. Don't if you have calendars that they could self book, have it 3 days max. When you call someone and book them day of or the next day. Don't book them 5 days. Like if you're calling them on Monday and they say, yeah, I can do Friday. No, don't do that. They won't show up. Okay. And especially if it's like a Friday or Thursday and someone wants Monday, they're not showing up. Or you're going to have a extremely killer um, reminding sequence and SOP to actually make sure that they remember their appointment. You got to think about it, right? These guys are old men. When you have a phone call with them and say, yeah, we got a call, in 5 days from now, I'll see you then. Okay, bye. They hang up the phone, then go have lunch, completely forgot about you, your company, what you offer, what time that you guys verbally said the appointment was. They've completely forgotten. And then you're going to sit on a Zoom call looking like a dummy, getting ghosted. Okay. So you need to book it not far in advance and have constant communication before the call. So I have another video. If you guys go through, I'll link it here or here, somewhere there, where I actually go through the exact text message automations and call framework that I use that actually gets these people to show up. Okay. Again, with the percentages that you see up here. It's huge, guys. The difference between a 60% show rate and an 86 is literally more than 2x the outcome. I made twice as much money this month than I did this month simply because my show rate was 26% higher. Just by doing something that could take you 5 extra minutes per day or even just one time setup can double your business. And people don't do it. I see time and time again, people are getting 30 to 40% show rates. And I don't know how. I understand that the contracting niche is hard and people don't show up. But I'm literally showing you on YouTube exactly how to do it. It takes you 5 minutes to do. All of my inner circle clients, they're all doing this and they're all seeing higher than 65% show rates. All of them, across the board. Across the board. It's super simple. Again, remember who we're targeting here. They're home service business owners. They're not crazy, sophisticated, hard to reach guys, right? They're simple-minded guys. That's why our approach is super simple. But again, a lot of people can't replicate it or can't figure it out themselves because what you see online is just so different. You're constantly being taught by guys who are attracting coaches and content creators and influencers, like, and you have all these complicated funnels. Like, no, 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 no. That's not gonna work here. Okay. So enough about my little ramble there. Sales, my favorite part. So what I've noticed is these guys don't watch VSLs. So there's literally no point of you having a VSL. You're going to waste time and you're going to lose conversions. But having a pre-call video after someone's booked is a must. You need a pre-call video. You need to educate the prospect as much as you can before the sales call. Because on the sales call, you don't want someone asking, "Hey, what do you do?" Right? Like, if you have to do an educational sell, which I've closed, like my business has closed many, many, many educational sells, but the moment a prospect can join a sales call already educated, your close rate will just skyrocket with how many people you can close if they're just already pre-sold and pre-educated before the call. Okay, some characteristics. Again, I'll link the video here again, or I'll probably link it down in the description as well. I show you like examples and frameworks on how to build a pre-call video, but I mean, I'll tell you for the most part here, it needs to be short and concise. Think of it like an ad, right? Think of it like a hook. If your pre-call video is 10 minutes long, even like over 5 minutes long, like, forget it. They're not watching the whole thing. You need to have it super short and concise, showing exactly what you do. Like, it literally needs to be exactly what you do visually, but without the price. It needs to be your sales pitch, but without the price. You literally want to educate them on everything. If you showed someone exactly how you're going to get them jobs before the call, why would they join the call after? Think about it. Okay. So that's exactly what we're doing. And again, if you thought about it and you're still confused, they would join the sales call still to, one, ask a few more questions on what they're a little unsure about and how does this work for me and how do we move forward. Okay. If someone watched the video and they say, "Oh yeah, this isn't for me," then they'd cancel. Okay. My second favorite thing here is two types of selling. There's emotional selling and logical selling. I would say most of you guys, if you are, I'd say maybe under 10K a month, or like I'd even say maybe potentially 15K a month, you could get away with emotional based selling, which I know a lot of people teach and a lot of people do. But in the home service niche, does not work. You need logical based selling. Like I said in the beginning, you need to throw emotion out the window. They don't care. All they care about is jobs. Can you get them jobs? They don't care about what funnels you're going to make. They don't care about what you say in the ads, who's in the ads, how pretty the ad looks, or how nice the funnel page looks, the CRM. They don't give a shit. They care about how many estimates can you bring them and how many jobs can they close from the estimates that you bring them. That's all they care about. So in your sales pitch, on your sales call, you need to show them exactly how you're going to get them X amount of jobs, X amount of estimates. That's what they want to see. They want to see the return. They're making an investment into your business. You need to show them the return that they're going to get from investing into you. Okay? That's like the best way I can put it for you guys. All right. And exactly like I kind of was underlining there, you got to be a consultant, not a sales rep. You're when you're doing logical based selling, you're helping them lead to the decision in working with you. Okay? You need to be like, think of it like being a doctor as well, right? You want to diagnose their problem, see exactly what they're doing, why they're not scaling, and then tell them, "Hey, well, we have X, Y, and Z that actually solves X, Y, and Z problems that you're facing right now," right? And then show it to them. Show them client results. If you don't have client results, just show them with math. Okay. I have a lot of the math because I have clients and I understand. You might have to Google some math in terms of, like, the average cost per lead in that industry and cost per call taken, or cost per estimate request and things like that. But diagnose their problem and show them a logical way to fix it, and you'll get the close every single time. But don't confuse the prospect. A confused buyer never buys. It's like a famous saying. A confused prospect will never buy. Show them the bare minimum of what they need to see. Understanding logically how your offer is going to help them achieve X result. Try to avoid showing them big long charts, confusing looking CRMs, or anything that just looks like someone's going to look at it and be like, what the fuck is this? Okay. You don't want to confuse, because the moment you've confused them, someone can't buy what they don't understand. Okay. That should be pretty self explanatory. So do not confuse them. Be very careful not to confuse them. Number 5 is service delivery and onboarding systemization. Okay. Onboarding should be 50% you and 50% them. What I mean by this is, to make your onboarding go smoothly, you need to get all of their information, all the information that you need, as quickly as possible, close to day one as possible. So what I do is I have them fill out a questionnaire. Then after they fill in their questionnaire, that again gives me all the information they need. I get all their information so I can A2P their account and go high level, all their information so I can build them a website if need be, all the information so my team can actually start running ads for them and knowing their service range, their offers, everything like that. And then I have them, once they're done that questionnaire, then they book their onboarding call with me or someone on my team. That's what they do. Think about it. They just invested, like, I price out my clients anywhere from $7.5 grand to $22,000. So I tell them, hey, listen, you're making the investment, do something. You know what I mean? Like, you made the investment, so take action now. Fill out the form and book your own onboarding call. I'm not going to baby you. Okay. You're making this investment for you and your business. Don't be lazy. Okay. And what's super important, and I can't stress this enough because I remember when I didn't do this and it was a pain in the ass, is set strong expectations. Again, remember who we're selling here. Throw emotional selling out the window. These prospects want to be shown logically how they achieve their outcome. So what I mean by this is show expectations, what they should expect from you and what you should expect from them. So just like an example, I set expectations on what marketing is and how long marketing takes or how short marketing takes and what they can expect the first 2 weeks to a month in. Majority of my clients, or I'd say now it's probably like a 40-60%, have never ran ads or done marketing before. So it's important I set expectations. You're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow, especially when you're only spending like $4 grand a month on ads, right? So it's important that I set proper expectations. So when they don't become a millionaire next week, but they make some money, they're happy and they understand that I'm doing my job. Okay. It's super, super important that you set expectations, because you will get people like I can tell a great story. I had a client and he got a 20x ROI within the first 5 days. Like, super lucky, in my opinion, at least at the time, because back then I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, at least compared to now. And then my client wanted to hop on a call, so I hopped on the call with him and my partner at the time. We were expecting we were going to get a sweet testimony. This is awesome. He ended up like raising his voice on the call and pretty much yelling at us, super upset about his results. And clearly expectations were not set. I know for a fact we didn't sell the dream on the sales call, but because he had put in, I think at that time we sold him for like $7 grand, he assumed that the next day he'd make his money back. And then that relationship really wasn't the greatest. And it's because we didn't set proper expectations from the beginning. Okay, so that's just kind of our story there, but like that might not happen to you because that does seem quite ridiculous. But expectations is super important, and everyone online would tell you the exact same thing. Communication, I'll do this really quickly, is super important. Okay, communicate them with via text and calling. Build a relationship. Don't stick to text channels like Go High Level or Discord or any crap like that. Text them, but most importantly, call your clients. Again, remember who we're dealing with here. These are labormen. Okay, even if they're off the tools, they're labormen at heart. They're on their phone, like phone calls. You could text the client. Like I've texted my clients 5 times in a day. They didn't pick up, or like they didn't answer me. The moment I called them, picked up first ring. Okay, like remember who these guys are. Call them. Okay, and what you want to do, especially with your service delivery, is try to productize your service delivery as best as possible. You want every client to achieve similar results, if not the same. And how you do so, like I get in the beginning, you're going to want to sign on anybody, but you're going to get very different results if you sign a client who's in the middle of New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere, and you got a client who's in the middle of Manhattan, right? Super big population on one side and super dry population on the other side, and like basically nobody's there. They're going to get very different results. Ideally, you want to sign on clients that are kind of the same business, like size, TAM, area that they service. And of course, you want to dial in your fulfillment. So you want to have ads that you know work. You want to have offers that you know work in the market. Obviously, things are going to vary depending on demographic and where they are in the States or Canada or wherever you're running ads. But it's going to be super important that you try to productize your service as best as possible. That way, it's better on you in your back end that you can pretty much copy and paste for clients. And again, scale really quickly, like in terms of your capacity of how many clients you can have on a time. I can't tell you how many times where someone will sign 5 clients 1 month and then be like, okay, I got to stop ads because I can't fulfill anymore. Like, that's the worst thing you can do. If you have momentum, don't stop momentum, guys. Like, I signed 5 clients last month and my ads are still on. I'm still signing clients because my fulfillment system is systematized. I can sign on new clients and it doesn't affect any of my backend. There's no extra per se work on the back end that I need to do. It's all plug and play again. AI, beautiful. Okay. 6, scaling your agency. So this again, when you're hitting that 10, 15K, even 20K, 30K mark, okay, you're always doing this. Is when is the right time to hire? I would say don't be too fast to hire. I know people in the beginning, I've been told many times, right when you start, get a media buyer, get a setter. No, 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 no. You need to do things first yourself. Like, you literally need to be the master of all trades in like of all marketing tactics. That way, when you hire, you know who's a noob and who's an expert because you are an expert. If you are a noob yourself at running ads and you have an interview with a media buyer, he might sound like the best fucking media buyer on the planet. But meanwhile, he sucks, but you can't see that. So then you hire him, waste your money, and most importantly, you waste your time and he affects your clients. So he's affecting your money, right? And you don't need it. Running ads is not difficult. The inside, pushing buttons, that's the easy part. The hardest part about ads is building the creatives. And media buyers don't do that. Media buyers are just order takers. They just click buttons. So that's not what they do. Okay, so learn what to hire. Learn what to hire setters, right? I would definitely be the sales rep in your business for as long as possible. Once it's a bottleneck, then hire someone else. I always wait till bottlenecks come and then you hire based on the bottleneck. I'm not just going to hire you should make any hires before you have a client. Okay? Obviously, once you're doing 15, 20, 30K, you're going to probably have some hires, but again, try to hire based on bottlenecks. Okay? I made so many at one time I was juggling 7 employees and it just made no sense. It hurt P&L. We weren't scaling us quick because I'm juggling so many people I need to take care of. So that's it. The way I do this, like for instance, my team right now, it's me and 2 other people. And I've scaled very, very quickly and very, very efficiently with just this team. You don't need a big team, I'm telling you. Or at least the way I teach it, you don't need a big team at all. Okay, appointment setting, exactly like I said, only hire once you know it works. You can't hire an appointment setter, and if he sucks, you're going to blame him. Meanwhile, your script sucks, right? You need to figure out what works before you hire and make sure that you're tracking every metric of the business. Cost per book call, cost per call taken, right? Cost per close, right? These are things you need to know in your business. If you don't know, how do you know what to work on? If you don't know your show rate is low, you're not going to work on your show rate. If you don't know that you're booking calls or that your cost per book call is it tripled within the last 3 days, you're not going to work on it. You don't know unless you track these things. Okay. And third and lastly here is continuously look at ways to improve your agency. You upgrade your services, automations, ad strategies, etc. And again, you're able to do this a lot more of the time when you have things like this in place where you're removing yourself a little bit further from the business. I know it's so popular that everybody wants to remove themselves completely from the business. That's not what this is, guys. If you want to do that, go start, like a faceless, like YouTube, like YouTube automation, like crap. Okay. You're going to be in this business. Okay. There's ways to take yourself out and out and out, but ideally, like, there's no such thing as passive income. I like active income. All right. So you got to stay active, manage your people, manage your clients, and you're going to make some good money. Okay, guys. Lastly, right? 7, you can invest in mentorship and networking when you're past 30K, which I think is good. Really any stage I think is good. I think most importantly, what I did was to give you perspective, I started 3 or 4 businesses. I can't remember, so long ago. I did 3 or 4 businesses that all failed. And then when I started Hook Square here, I invested in mentorship and networking. And I'll tell you, it tremendously increased the speed at which I grew. As you can see here, I invested in a big mentor. And in my second month of business, guys, like 60 days in this new business that I created after failing like 3 or 4 businesses, I closed $30,000 in a span of 12 days apart. Like, that wasn't even like 30 days span. I made that in 2 weeks. I quit my full-time job right after that. I said, there's no way I'm making like 50K a year when I just closed 30K American, because I'm Canadian, so American dollars, in 2 weeks. Completely changed my life. And it's because I took the fast track and invested into mentorships. Now, you got to be really careful with who you invest with. There's a lot of generalists out there. Okay. I would even consider maybe the person I was with was a little general, but at the time of what I needed, it helped me so much. And what I mean by being like general and having someone more specific is if you help home service businesses, find someone who helps home service business targeted agencies. Okay. Again, it doesn't have to be with me, even though that's exactly what I do. But if you're going to invest in mentorship or networking, invest in someone who's done it before, who's where you want to be. Not just you see a guy online making money. No, I want to do this and he's going to help me with this, even though he's never done it, but he's made money online. No. I'm telling you, that won't work. Because especially in home service, it's completely different than if you were to attract an insurance broker or XYZ. Okay. It's extremely, extremely different. So it's important you find someone that has done it before. Okay. That's pretty much exactly what I said here. I've said completely different a few times. As you guys know, I wrote this a long time ago and I'm saying it now because it's the exact same stuff. And of course, I say this to say, of course you can do it yourself, but there's always a costly learning curve. Okay. I'll say the amount of money you'd probably invest in a mentor will save you 5 times as much as if you were to start it on your own with no knowledge. Like, it sucks that the whole, online course has, for some reason, like a bad rep in a lot of like outside zones. They think, scam, blah, blah. But think about what you're paying for. You're paying for someone's, like, I'll just use me as an example. I've been doing this for like 3 to 4 years now. You would be paying for my experience in the last 3 to 4 years. You would skip all of the things that I did that didn't work. So you would skip all the errors. If you wanted to go start a personal brand or making content, I would tell you no. Boom. I just saved you months of sitting in front of your phone making content for nobody. There you go. You could create ads that, in your opinion, you think they're amazing. But I know, because I've done it before, that those ads don't work. So boom, I just saved you money, the money that you're going to put into ads that wouldn't have worked. And I'm going to give you actual good frameworks for building good ads that attract high quality prospects the first time around. So the day one you hit launch on the ads, they're profitable. they're working, they're generating calls, they're generating booked appointments, and they're generating closes from day one. That's literally how all of my clients have seen results like insanely quick. If you look at all my testimonials, every single one is, you know, close 5K an hour after our call, did $8,000 in 2 weeks after joining. Like, it's quick because I tell you exactly what you need day one. Like, I'm not waiting 5 months to tell you everything. Like, I tell you day one. It's just a matter of how fast you implement it, right? So again, I guess if I'm going to start talking about myself here, talk a little bit about my program. I coach agency owners, specifically SMMA agency owners who help home service businesses. So this would be, HVAC, roofing, concrete, outdoor living. So that's like pool, like electricians, epoxy, like any type of flooring, hardscaping, landscaping. Like, there's probably a bunch that I haven't even mentioned, but like, these are the types of business owners, the agency owners that I help scale, because again, this is my bread and butter. I can't, like, I could, but I can't help you if you're targeting real estate companies, because I've never done that before. But I've been in the home service niche for years now. I know exactly how to attract them. And I'm telling you, like, it's extremely different. So you can do it on your own and maybe get there. But if you have a mentor who's been there and who's still doing it to this day, I'm still running my agency today. That's how you're going to get the best results. And clearly, my clients, they're getting results super, super quickly, and it's for a good reason. So with that being said, guys, if you do want to, see what it's like working with me, you can click the link down below. You can book on a call with me or someone on my team. I'll let you know. It'll most likely be with me, just because I like to kind of see my clients before we sign them on. And we'll see if this program really like works best with you, and see if I can actually help you. But other than that, guys, I'll see you on the next one.